kitty, 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 kitty. Oh, sweet kid. You're very nice. You're very nice.
You're leaving footprints. What's your footprints? Oh, am I scaring you? I think your friends are eating my coreopsis. I'd like you to stop that.
You like it? Does it look good to you? It looks good, eh? Hello, welcome to Fibertown. I'm back. It's good to be back. My name is Emily. Welcome to my kitchen. I have a lot to share with you today about spinning, knitting, sewing, knit-alongs, acquisitions, my festival experience at Maryland Sheep and Wool this year. I have to apologize. I'll be fussing with my hair this whole time because I'm desperately in need of a haircut. So I've just done this, and it's going to distract me. But I'll do my best to focus on the making that I have to share with you. This is future Emily, just checking in. This is the Jenny the Potter mug I mentioned later in the podcast. And I also meant to say, I can't believe I forgot this. Thank you for leaving comments on this YouTube video and for leaving comments in the Ravelry group and just getting in touch. It is, when I put out a podcast, it is the highlight of the whole thing for me. So I just want to say thanks for those of you who take the time to connect. It's a big part of why I enjoy doing this. Artwork by my daughter. So thank you for being with me. It's just been difficult to gather everything together, sit down here when no one else is in the house but my dog Alice. She's over there finishing breakfast. I had a cancellation for work this afternoon, so I'm home the rest of the day, and here we are. So I have some businessy things to talk about first, and then I have one FO. I have works in progress, spinning, acquisitions, Maryland Sheep and Wool, sewing. I think I'll do it in that order, with sewing at the end. So hopefully at the beginning of this episode you've seen some details from my garden. The garden is looking amazing already this year. I have lots of dye plants, including some I got at Maryland. I hadn't planned on talking about them right now, but why don't I just do that? I have a very healthy growth of my Ella campaign, which is a perennial whose roots give a purple dye. It's going bonkers. It was not this big last year. This is the year that it has become established and it's going to grow. So this fall I will move it to a different location because it's taking over my herb bed. I should probably research when is the best time to harvest the root, and if it's the spring, I might just do that. So I have alkanet as well, which is also edible. I think that's a blue. I have some indigo, Japanese indigo, which I experimented with last summer and loved because that just gave light greens to teals. It's not a fermented indigo. It's fresh. The plant strain, the crushed and strained plant is the only ingredient in that dye process. I have weld. I have woad. Weld is yellow. Woad gives a blue dye. I've not used woad before. I also have safflower, which I think is an orange yellow. Coreopsis, which self-seeded from my last year's coreopsis patch. But something has been chewing on them. They're coming back, but I think it was slugs chewing on my coreopsis. I also have black hollyhock that has germinated, and that was a gift from my friend Corrine. She had sent me some of her black hollyhock seeds. I think they will. We'll see. We'll see what they do, if they dye anything. Lots and lots of marigolds planted as well. I saved some indigo apple tomato seeds from last year's crop, and I'm very excited that they have germinated. I love them. They're hard to find commercially. I bought them at Maryland Sheep and Wool last year, and I saved and dried some of the seeds on a coffee filter, just flattened out. Put it in the fridge in an envelope, and just planted the coffee filter this spring in a pot, and I've got lots of seedlings. Is there any, and I've got lots of other tomatoes as well, but the indigo apple is delicious, and it's got a purpley, dark purple red skin. It's kind of different colors in different places. And the tomato itself is nice eating tomato, not too big. I'm just laughing because I didn't plan to talk about this. But anyway, the indigo apple has like a vanilla component. It's really good. What else do I have out there? Herbs, other herbs, basil, thyme, garlic chives, which are in full bloom right now. It's a massive plant as well. Yeah. So, moving along from garden business, I also have flowers blooming, and I'll put some video in the beginning. I wanted to talk about the Wallen along, also known as the Marie Wallen Cal. I'm doing this in conjunction with my buddies, Sarah from Yarns at Knit-Who, Sarah Fiber Trek, and Corrine from the Woolly Thistle. They are all podcasters, and we have decided to do this Marie Wallen knit along. So, the details are in my Ravelry group, but let me just give you a rundown here. I know Sarah Yarns at Knit-Who has a thread open too. And the other podcasters may as well. I haven't looked yet. Knit Anything by Marie Wallen from now till Rhinebeck. Rhinebeck is around the 19th of October, and that's 2019. So it's a very long cal. If you've got something already on the needles by Marie Wallen, by all means use that. You can enter in all of those places. I will be giving away, I know Corrine is giving away Woolly Thistle gift cards on everyone's podcast. I'm going to give away a $25 gift card to the Woolly Thistle as well. And the Woolly Thistle is a great place. You can buy Marie Wallen individual patterns on Ravelry, but not all of them. Sometimes they're not out individually yet, and you have to get them in a book. This is mine, Shetland. So I know the Woolly Thistle has that. In Europe and the UK, Isolde probably stocks it. So that's it. Knit with us. Post in the threads. I'll probably give a prize this summer and then a final prize at the end. Should be good. There's some stuff in there already. I have one thing on the needles, which you already know about. I have another thing almost ready to go on the needles, and then I've got at least 2 other things from that book that I want to knit. So, Hashtag it on Instagram. I'll draw prizes from Ravelry and Instagram. The hashtags are Marie Wallen Cal and Wallen Along. I like Wallen Along. I like that medial alliteration that you get from Wallen Along. It's just fun to say. So, moving along to, a thank you. This is to Kia from Kia's Bod podcast. Did I say that right? Kia's Bod. She is a Swedish podcaster who gave me a shout out. And I rarely get shout outs. And I'm always tickled when I do, especially when it's a podcaster for whom I've been meaning to give a shout out. She has a very interesting podcast, really interesting knits. She is a prolific knitter, and she does her own thing with colors, and it's gorgeous. She has some very beautiful photography and videography in her videos, and she's just a down-to-earth, lovely person. And I never miss one of her podcasts. She puts them out in English and in Swedish. So thank you, Kia. I really appreciate it. I got many new viewers after that shout out, which was a thrill. I've been around for 6 years doing this, and I still love it. But, I've never had a huge viewership, and that's okay with me. So when I see 50 new viewers in a few weeks, I get tickled. So thank you for that. Another podcast recommendation that I would like to make is Cabin Boy Knits. I think he's a Canadian. He's got a really great show as well. I haven't watched all of them, but the one or two that I did watch, he is a professional natural dyer in that he sells what he dyes. And he lives in a cabin in the woods, in Canada, as my children say. And he forages for his dye ingredients. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful podcast, and he makes beautiful yarns, and I'm always interested in what he has to say. So that's Cabin Boy Knits and Kia's Bod. I recommend them. Now, I recently did a destash on Instagram, and I do this once or twice a year, usually around a fiber festival. I don't have bad yarn in my stash. I have great yarn, but my tastes change. I decide, I don't want to knit this the way I used to when I bought it. Or let's be honest, sometimes you just go to a yarn store and you feel like you have to buy something, and you like something and you buy it, and then you don't really have a plan for it, and it sits there and it sits there and you feel bad. Anyway, I was able to destash quite a bit, thankfully, and I'm mailing it all out tomorrow. So I want to show you what's left over briefly. All of this is saved on Instagram. It's good prices, really priced to move. And it's under my saved stories destash, so you can take a look. All the prices and details are there. But I have some Claudia hand paints, Walk in the Woods. I have Wilmisa lace. This is the purple velvet colorway. You can make a sweater out of this. I have Tough Love sock from Sweet Georgia. You'll notice a lot of this is purple, which is just something I've fallen out of love with. I also have this. I think this is around 150 grams of virtual yarns, 2-ply Hebridean from Alice Starmore. This is in the Solan Goose colorway. There it is. I have a skein of Andre Sue Knits, and as I explained in my stories, some of these were donated to the podcast. So I'm using them if I sell them as support for the podcast, because it does cost me some cash over the course of the year to produce this. So Andre Sue Knit Superwash Merino Nylon. I have this, you guys, Cornish tin, the first one. I think this is the first one. Yeah, I probably shouldn't sell this. I don't think it's available anywhere on dstash. It's the DK. It's Wheel Rose Red. I have Malabrigo sock. This is the Dewberry colorway, another purple. I have Exmoor, John Arbin Exmoor sock. This is Blueface Leicester nylon, 4-ply. I have Scandalous. This is a merino bamboo in elderberry. Pretty. And this is an interesting one. Big Alice Dies. I think someone sent this to me either for the podcast or in a swap. I cannot remember. It's really nice. It's called A Nod to the Violets. It's merino silk 50/50. Really gorgeous. That would go in a shawl gorgeously. Then just a few last bits. I have this set. I'm selling all of this for $15. It's local alpaca, which would make an amazing warp, plus this stuff. A purple and sort of a Noro-ish. I don't know what these are since I don't have ball bands. But this is probably a 400-something yard sock weight. So these are all $15. Weave them up, make them into a shawl. And lastly, I have a skein of Volmisa Superwash. We're different. 100% merino sock. So that's, 100 grams, 350 meters. Oh, 574 yards. Woo. So that's my destash. Message me on Instagram or here on Ravelry, Chain of Fools, if you're interested. Cheers. Let's have a drink. All right, I have one FO today, and it is right here. And I wore them a bunch after I finished them. Oh, I should have them on sock blockers, but I don't. These are the Corriedale, the Squoosh base, or Squishy, from Fiber Nymph Dye Works. I love them. They're a Corriedale nylon mix. The colorway is Minnesota Nice. It's my usual sock recipe. I think they're going to wear very well. That's it for FOs, folks, except for some sewing things, which I will show you later. So let's do works in progress, shall we? I have a brand new sock, a Zauberball sock on the needles. This is the anniversary colorway. I don't know if that's a current anniversary. I said anniversary. I'm on the foot, turned the heel. There we go. You might notice this is pretty skinny. I'm playing around with a 60 stitch sock on my US 1.5 usual needle. Find my Zauberball socks kind of bag out a little bit, and they may just require fewer stitches. I usually do 64. That's going back in my moon bag. Then I have a pair of baby socks. My friend Leanne had a beautiful baby girl. I have two presents going for that baby. These are the baby socks by Bianca Boonstra. Need some ends woven in. They have 40 rows of ribbing and then this wee foot here. Isn't it funny how sometimes the simplest things are the hardest to get right? I.e., I make a lot of mistakes as I make them. It's very odd. Simple yet effective, it's a thing. So I'm on the second sock, and this is a mini skein from La Bien-Aimée in Paris that I picked up when I was there. Don't know the colorway, but Leanne loves hot pink. I have run out of yarn. I thought I might. I'm going to pull this one back, and I'm going to do the toes in a green, also from La Bien-Aimée, and they will go perfectly with this little dress I've sewn for the baby. Very excited. Going back in my botanically printed bag. There's a eucalyptus leaf right there. And then I have two other works in progress, but they have not been touched. Those are my Hufflepuff mitts and my, what's it called? Wolf River sweater, which is out of Handspun. So the Samfree by Marie Wallen. Let me pull this out. I have the body finished, except for the ribbing, which is still on a provisional cast on down here. Once I finish the second sleeve, I will do the bottom ribbing. I've done the top ribbing, but I'm not happy. I think I'm going to take it out and redo I don't know. Need to think. I was winging it. I think it's a little too tall, and I don't like how it... Here's up close. I think I need to change the colors up, at least possibly just these top colors. I don't think I want the dark green to be the last color here. Possibly not even the first color around. Oh yes, I had steeked everything open. I don't know if I had done that on the last show or not. Probably not. There's the sleeves cut open. And of course the neck hole. And I took video, well, no, my video was pretty bad, but I do have pictures of what the steeks looked like before I cut them. And I'll probably insert something about the sweater around here. Hey! So, we're gonna cut an armhole steek. Now you can see down here at the armpit, got a nice tidy little hole where we can begin cutting the steek. I have done some zigzag stitching, do you see that? I am going to cut up this middle stitch here, so I've zigzagged on the 2 stitches either side of that. So the armpit is quite easy to see. The top of the arm, right around the shoulder, it's a little bit trickier. So I think I'm actually gonna start up here, and apologies if I'm out of frame. I just need to make sure that I get this going correctly. Got my finger there. All right. We have begun the steek. I have tried the neck hole for my head. It goes on, looks great. Oh, look at that. We've got a little bit of a cut going. I think I'm gonna come and start down here for the remainder. Don't know if I'm in frame. I think I am. Up we go, up we go. I've got my hand underneath so that I only cut through 1 layer of fabric. This is so exciting, so exciting. Oh, looking nice. Look, those stitches don't go anywhere. When they're cut open, it's just Hebridean and a little bit of Shetland yarn. I'm coming up to some Shetland right here. Oh, look, we're almost to the end. And put my little Russian doll scissors down. Okay, look at that, mamita. We have an opening. Oh, wait, got a little bit to cut right up here. So I will need to knit a few sleeves. Yes, indeed I will. And then I will need to set them into this armhole. But first, let's do the other one and then try this puppy on. So over here, it's gonna look just the same as what I just did, so I'm gonna turn y'all off. So I've done some zigzag stitches around here to reinforce that, and I'm gonna cut up, I'm gonna make sure I don't have any fabric underneath, and I'm going to cut right up that center stitch. No need to be precious about it. That's all just gonna be tucked on the inside. Oh, this stuff, let me unknot it so that I can just weave in those ends. Aha! Look at that! Oh my gosh, so exciting. Forget how exciting this is. So yeah, I will tuck this under, and I'll tuck that under, and there's my neck hole, y'all. So I'll pick up stitches around the neck hole, and this will be awesome. Gotta do the armholes next. In terms of pictures and or videos. So this comes off my shoulders. It's a drop shoulder. It looks good. And I have finished 1 sleeve. And yes, the cuffs, the ribbing, I didn't stripe every single color. I striped a variety of them. I really like how it looks. Here's the 2nd sleeve. Alice, please stop that. She's trying to get outside. I'm so close. I have 2 more motif repeats to do. You can tell I've steamed this sleeve and not this sleeve. My color work has been a little tight during this knit, and I blame my rewatching of Game of Thrones for that. It was stressful. The whole thing was stressful. I'm glad it's done. So yes, I just have these top 2 bits to do. Here we go. There we are. That's where I am. I have done things a little differently as far as the increases between the two sleeves as an experiment. On this one, I did left, make one right and left. And it really looks bad right here. It looks better other places, but you know, it's the under the arm. There goes my darning needle. It's under the arm seam. Nobody can really tell. However, look at this one. I feel like this one I did knit front and back for the increases. It's easier to do for sure, and I feel like it looks a little cleaner. So I'm using Alice Starmore Hebridean 2-ply. That's from Virtual Yarns. And yeah, the sleeves are a bit tight right about here. I hope it'll all go well. I'm going to mattress stitch the sleeves in, I think. Maybe back stitch them and redo the neckband, and then I will pick up for the ribbing sleeves and Bob's Your Uncle, and I'll be done with the sweater. I think I'm going to try to finish this sleeve today. That's a lot of knitting. I started this on May 9th. I hope to be done by June 9th. That would be a nice deadline, right? 3 months. So that's it for my works in progress. I have some works in progress that are in my head. They're not embodied yet. So I'd like to talk about spinning. That's my chart. Oh my gosh, the charts are not easiest to read. I would recommend enlarging them if you can. All right, spinning. I have been working on 2 fleece spins / preparations. Let me show you my Jacob spin first. I'm on to the darkest part. So I have 1 bobbin full and no bats carded. I need to get my drum carder going again. And this was a Jacob fleece from Ohio that I bought last year, 2018 Maryland sheep and wool. Let me show you. There's a little Jacob fleece, a little Jacob lock. There's a big pile of them. So I'm drum carding them. I am just rolling up the bats kind of tightly off the drum carder and spinning from the top, the narrow end of the tube. So a nice woolen preparation. And I have, let me show you what I have so far. The white Jacob, which has given me no end of trouble. The lavender. Then I have 2 skeins of the marl, which is where the dark and the light touch each other. So, that's what I've got so far. And then we'll add this on the end. I always thought this would make an amazing shifty sweater. Could make amazing other ideas as well. We'll see. We'll see. It's all very exciting. Sorry about that. Now the other fleece spin that I've got going is this one, and I've just got a pile of combed nests. This is a fleece I bought last fall in Virginia. It's a Virginia Coopworth cross, I think. I think there must be Romney in it. It's really, really gorgeous. Really gorgeous. Here it is. Let me take one of these locks out. You've seen this one. It's the prettiest fleece I've had in a while. Nice length on it. The tips of the lock are in great shape. And I did a little sample skein. This has not been washed. It's still got some lanolin. I just think it's darling. It's really beautiful. This will be a sweater, for sure. Made to be a sweater, this fleece. Now the last spin is my shifty spin. It's done. Don't have immediate plans to cast it on, and it's still a we'll see if it works out kind of idea. But this is Cormo from Pennsylvania. It was in top form, and I dyed it in February during my knitting camp. Here is my favorite color out of all of them. just so pretty. There we go. The light's a little strange in the afternoon here. Plus this, which is the least successful color, I think. Plus this, which I really like, purples and blues. So that's my shifty spin. So I've been busy, quite busy. Yeah, is that everything? I think we're ready to talk about acquisitions in Maryland sheep and wool. So the next Wallen Along cast on is right over here. And this is the Yell cardigan. And this is also out of the Shetland book. And while I was at Maryland Sheep and Wool, Sarah Pomegranate had started knitting on hers. I got to hang out with her. She's one of my favorite people. And this sweater is, so gorgeous. So gorgeous. So she's using Jamieson and Smith. I'm using the colors Marie Wallen recommends, which are out of this yarn, Jamieson's of Shetland. And they've come in the mail in this gorgeous tote bag. And there will be a picture at the beginning of all of these colors laid out. So I can't wait to cast it on. It was just so beautiful in person. She's doing, instead of a ribbing, I think she's doing like a moss stitch or a garter stitch, and I think I'm going to do that as well. I think a lot of people complain that the band flips up, so that should help with that. Sometimes if the ribbing isn't deep enough, that will happen. I picked up, Sarah also had a design in collaboration with this yarn dyer, Distelfink. This is a Pennsylvania-based farm that dyes their own fiber. So this is a 3-ply Romney Border Leicester Merino. And I really love the marling on this. So I treated myself to a skein of washing blue, Distelfink, farm raised in Carlisle, PA. So the Maryland Sheep and Wool, I only went one day, sadly. The Sunday was a washout, and I was not feeling well. And so we did not go on Sunday. We just had a morning at our B&B, really amazing breakfast and chat with the people around the breakfast table, which I have to say my husband hates. He hates that B&B sort of scene. Hang on. He doesn't want to talk to strangers. I like it, usually. Not always. So it was kind of funny. But the Saturday, I feel like I missed out on a lot. I didn't get to Ross Farm. I didn't see enough of the animals. I was a little sad about my Maryland Sheep and Wool this year, but it was still great. All right, so I'm going to have to let this dog out. All right, so this was my big purchase this year. Beautiful, right? This is a sheepskin from Skoog. Raises Gotland sheep, and this is a Gotland sheepskin. This has been on the back of my couch. I have to say, I was incredibly ill last week, and I napped underneath this thing, and it's like a weighted blanket of woolly goodness. So yeah, this is, very pleased with this. They didn't have a selection of the super gray ones like I had hoped, but maybe someday I'll buy a second. So that was my big purchase this year. I always make one big purchase. And I also bought a fleece. I got this guy, which I have not yet even opened up. It's a Hog Island. I have my doubts about how easy this fleece will be to process and spin, but I've done one before. I'm up for the challenge. I think the staple length is variable, as Hog Island can be, but this one, they had maybe 7 of them at the fleece sale, and this seemed to be the soundest, longest staple length that I found. There were over 1,000 fleeces. That's why Maryland is so amazing in terms of fleece. Really gorgeous, really gorgeous. So this was the one that I wanted this year. I mean, I have this one to work on. I have the Jacob. I have a Clun Forest still, and I have like a Perrindale Cross. So I'm good for fleeces for now, but I can't pass up a Hog Island. They're just special. So once all the pollen is gone, I will wash some of this up and see how it does. And once the pollen is gone, so I can dry it outside without it collecting a lot of yucky stuff. So I went down to Hobbledehoy, where I shopped on behalf of a few friends, because this is likely her last show. I think she said, oh no, there's a moth in the house. Must have just gotten in when I opened the door for the dog. It's not a closed moth though. All right, so I did buy myself some Hobbledehoy goodies. Oh, Sparkle. I didn't realize this had sparkle. It doesn't seem like it has sparkle. I don't want sparkle. But, oops, I also got these. No sparkle in there. They're just great things to spin when you are traveling. Oh, I like this one, banned books. So, possibly my final Hobbledehoy as she's closing up shop to move on to a new career. Yeah, I think that's it for Maryland Sheep and Wool. I know, not a lot. Again, I don't know. I knew I wanted to buy the yarn for the Yale cardigan, so I kind of held back on the yarn front. I didn't buy a lot. I, of course, bought maple cream. I bought plants. Yes, I did. But it was one of my lower spending Maryland Sheep and Wools. I wanted to go back and buy soap. I usually stock up for my bar soap for the year at sheep shows, and I even didn't get to go back. We didn't feel well that afternoon, neither one of us, and yeah, I don't know what happened. But that's okay. That's all right. There's next year, and perhaps, oh, I did get a Jenny the Potter mug, too. I don't have it to show you. I have a confession to make. I got 2 Jenny the Potter mugs. Yes. I blame my friend Sarah, who wanted me to get her one. And I didn't think I'd be able to get one because now you have to pay to get into Maryland, so you can't get there early and line up at the booths. You have to line up at different entrance. So I was like, for sure, we were not early enough to get a good spot in line. That for sure I'm not getting a Jenny the Potter mug. And a few days before the festival, someone had put on the Ravelry group that they were destashing Jenny the Potter mugs. So I signed up to buy a Bluebird one. So I met the lady at the festival, got the Bluebird mug, but I was still able to get Jenny the Potter mugs from this year. And I got one with a whale, I got one for my friend, and so I came home with 3 Jenny the Potter mugs. 2 for me. So that's my confession. So it was pretty good in terms of coming away with some great purchases. But there's just so much good stuff. Sometimes it's overwhelming. I think that's what happened to me this year. So I'll put some footage in, pictures, video from the festival here.
They had babies that were 1
Did you enter in this game competition? How did you do? 2-minute warning, not to stress you out. You did? What'd you get? She's entered some skeins in skein competition. Head on over to the other building right next to
Oopsie. And we'll move along to sewing after that. Sewing. Let me show you the baby dress. It's the cutest. It is called the Geranium Dress by Made by Ray. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. It needs a press. Here's the back. This is out of Nanny Iro double gauze. Don't know why I bought a yard of this. I think I mentioned this last time I recorded, but it was obviously for this. Oh, I love it. I made the 6 to 12 month size, and I lined it with this adorable pink linen. Just the bodice is lined. Here's the inside. I still need to clip some threads. Yeah, you can see it's not the best job tacking down the lining. But overall, I think it's adorable. And those pink and green socks will go with it. I need to get that all sorted out and finished so that I can give it to my friend as soon as I see her and her new baby. So, yeah, adorable. 6 to 12 month. Hopefully she can get lots of wear from it. I made a couple things that were failures. The first one is this Bumblebees skirt by Megan Nielsen. There are a couple things that are wrong in the execution, such as the waistband, where things just don't line up. Look at that right there. See, it doesn't line up on the other side. Sometimes I rush and I make mistakes. That's what was happening here. And also, I was thinking, sometimes when I feel like it's not going to fit me, I rush. Like, thinking maybe if I get this, like, if I finish it, maybe it'll work. And I just want to finish it and find out. It's almost like when you're running out of yarn, if you knit faster, you won't run out of yarn. It's like that. But the real failure is in the pairing of style and body. See the gathers? See the volume? This does not suit a woman whose hips are 2 sizes bigger than her top. So the Bumblebees skirt does not work well with my body. I don't feel good in it. The other thing I made that was a failure initially, but then turned out really well, is this. This is an organic double gauze. I originally made it into a matcha top. And the fabric was unsuitable for that. So it was too heavy, not drapey enough, even though I feel like, it's not super drapey. It's not super, doesn't have a lot of body either, but what was happening is that the matcha top has these epaulettes, and the weight of the epaulettes was dragging it backwards. The epaulettes were coming off my shoulder. So it just looked terrible, and the front was just too stiff. So I made it into a willow tank, and I really like it. The issue was it was a bit of a cutting nightmare because the matcha top is quite cropped. So I went crazy trying to reuse this fabric. I took it apart, and I was taking different patterns and putting them to the pattern pieces in the fabric that I had left over. And I finally hit on the willow tank after like weeks of futzing around and getting frustrated. I still had to add a piece on the back. Do you see that right there? Because the back piece wasn't long enough. But it's in back of me. can't really tell. And it's a really nice fabric and color for me. The other two, well, let me show you this one. This is not a new make, but these are my Dawn jeans. And I was complaining about how stiff they were. And now they're getting better. I've been wearing them for as much as I can tolerate. And I'm sitting in them even. I'm even eating in them. So these are a bit more of a win. I don't think they'll get much more use this summer because the humidity is about to ramp up and I will not want to be wearing any jeans. Just loose, flowy things. Now the last thing I sewed, what is she? Oh, Alice is chasing bugs outside. Is that a cricket? She loves crickets. Oh. Oh, no, it's a wolf spider. Did it bite you? Okay. Sorry about that. So the last thing I made is really wrinkly right now. This is a modified strata top that I made out of silk that I dyed with indigo and madder. You can see a bit of the pinky coral from the madder. I dyed this last year, and a strata top. The strata was from a Taproot magazine it's by the So Liberated lady. And yeah, I added 5 inches to the length. And I'm quite happy with it. So I have this lovely silk top. Oh, and I made this as well, which is now all wrinkled because I wore it to work in today. But this is the puff top by the Assembly line. I adore this. It really forces me to have better posture if I want the envelope neckline to lie flat. I'm noticing an issue right here with some bunching up. Looks like I did that when I top stitched here. But this is out of a very stiff cotton. Well, it's not that stiff, but I'll show you. It has darts. It's the puff top by the Assembly line, as I said, and the sleeves should go all the way down and have gathered at the wrist with elastic, and they puff out. And I'm not about that. I'm not here for puff sleeves. Hey, everybody. Whoa, I am editing this podcast, and in the middle of it, we had a tornado warning and a massive thunderstorm. Massive tree limbs down everywhere. Anyway, it's been an exciting day here. I wanted to just jump in right here and talk about the puff sleeves, okay? I feel like puff sleeves, how can I say this? It's like a class issue. People who have to do things with their hands, they can't be having puff sleeves or bishop sleeves or any of these crazy sleeves. Puff sleeves are for people, historically, who don't dress themselves, who don't cook their own food, who don't clean their own house or castle, and who don't work for a living. So, yes, I work for a living. I clean my own house. I cook my own food mostly. But they still get in the way. Like, I do things. I'm all about practicality. So I don't really understand this trend of sleeves that get in the way of life. So that's what I mean when I say I'm not here for puff sleeves. I think it's a leftover. It's a class issue that people may not think about until you actually try to go about your life with crazy sleeves. That's the end of my sleeve rant. I hope everybody's well. Our house is safe for now. Artwork by Mary Lee Harris. So I did a short sleeve. I cuffed it up today. And it's a yarn-dyed cotton. It's very pretty. And I want to make more of these. I want to make all the things lately, sewing-wise especially. For most of the winter, I didn't have much of a sewing mojo, but it's back. It's definitely back. Yes. Is there anything else for me to share with you? Itchy nose. If you are a new viewer and you've made it this far, I'm super thrilled you're here, and I hope you join the Wallen. Okay, I said I like to say it, but apparently now I can't say it. Wallen along. There we go. Need to wake up my mouth. yeah, I'm very glad you're all here, and I hope you come back next time and share what you're making here and on Instagram. And until next time, take care.